I've been spinning poi for nearly a decade and a half, but how did I get my start? What were the hurdles that I had to get over, and where did I even first learn about the flow arts? Drex here from DrexFactor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain, and today we're going to talk a bit about how it all started. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. And a special thanks to the first non-business friend of the channel, Johnny Howard. Thanks so much for your support, Johnny. Recently, one of my favorite flow Instagrammers visited DC, and I got a chance to sit down and chat with her about her own channel and work, and she had a really important question for me too. How did I get started? Her name is Liana, or the Hoop Lady on Instagram, and you should both check out her work and get super excited because my interview with her was really fun. It should be dropping in a week or two, but in the meantime, I thought it'd be cool to share with you the story that I shared with her. This is a question that comes up not infrequently on my Q&As or when people meet me in general, and I figure it can't hurt to have it out there in the ether either. My story begins back in August of 2006 when I attended my very first Burning Man. I had a friend from high school and college who'd been trying for years to get me to come. Finally, I decided to take the plunge and bought my ticket used from another burner just a few days before the event. The halcyon days when you could just decide to go to Burning Man a few days ahead of time. When I arrived there, I was blown away by the creativity, art, and participation on display throughout Black Rock City. I'd never seen art produced on this scale before, and there was something magical about being in a temporary city, full of other creatives coming together and pouring so much of their energies into just that 1 week. Several years ago, I recorded a travel diary of my time there that I'll link to in the description, but suffice it to say, the event changed my life in several ways. One of the biggest was encountering fire spinning for the first time. Somehow, having grown up in Boulder, Colorado, I'd lived under a rock and had missed the fact that several of the key figures in the growing scene not only lived in the area, but also regularly performed in it. Still don't know how that happened, but apparently I needed to drive to Nevada to see it for the first time. And my first experience with it was at Hookah Dome. They hosted a fire jam that Wednesday that was attended by fire dancers from all over the world. The one in particular that I remember was a woman with a fire hula hoop. Now, this was long before people started using lighter hoops or quick wicks, so the hoop that she was using was pretty bulky and a little hard to manage. She also didn't seem to know a lot of moves that she could do with it, aside from simply waist hooping. But still, the look on her face was one of pure joy. A few days later, the man burned, and before it did, I got to see my first fire conclave. And I think that's an experience that changed the course of my life. Seeing conclave was what finally hooked me. Taking in the spectacle and just so much fire all happening at the same time was incredible to me. And having spent a week immersed in an event that was centered around participation, I decided that this was going to be a thing that I was going to participate in. If only I could find out what exactly it was. The entire week, I never asked any fire performer I encountered what they were doing, what it was called, or where they'd even learned it. I just knew that I dug the fire, so after I returned to Colorado, I started asking around to see if any of my friends could point me in the right direction. I should also mention at this point that I have somewhat mixed feelings about Burning Man now. I'll include a link to a recent video I did on the topic down in the description if you want to know more, but for now, let's continue with the story. What's that fire thing we saw out of Burning Man? I asked time and time again. For months, I got blank looks, and then finally one day a friend replied, "What, you mean poi?" And it was on. One thing I do have to point out here. I didn't actually know what poi was. All I knew was that somebody was answering my question and not giving me a blank stare. Poi sounded suitably mysterious or exotic to me, so I figured, yes, let's try that. They literally could have answered anything and I would have run after it. The fact that I wound up spinning poi is kind of a weird accident. So once I had a word to attach to the thing that I wanted to do, I discovered that there was a person in our circle of friends that knew some basics, and I asked him for a lesson. I headed over to his house and borrowed a set of his poi and proceeded to absolutely fail miserably at it. He spent 2 hours trying to teach me how to do a basic reel turn, and I just could not understand it for the life of me. Every time I went to swing my poi past my ankles, one poi would swing behind me and I'd get all tangled up. Being able to turn with the poi seemed like absolute sorcery. So I gave up. No, really, I gave up. I was so disheartened and disappointed after that first lesson that I kind of gave up on the idea of learning to spin fire, and I went back to my normal life. I put it out of my head and I didn't think about it at all. And then my roommate returned from a trip that he'd taken to Thailand, and he'd bought a set of poi for me at a street market there as a present. He proudly presented them to me, saying how he'd remembered how much I'd mentioned I wanted to learn how to spin poi. I thanked him graciously for them, but didn't quite know what to do. I kind of felt guilty that he'd bought them for me and brought them all the way back from Thailand when I'd kind of already given up on this. So I gave them another try. But I had two things going for me this second time around that I didn't the first time. First was that I discovered there was a regular spin jam down the street from where I was living in Denver. Every Sunday, dozens of fire dancers got together in Confluence Park to perform and trade ideas. And plugging into it, I not only got access to several new mentors and teachers, but also a community that welcomed me with open arms and whom I enjoyed hanging out with. And for anyone who was about to ask, sadly no, as far as I know, that spin jam no longer meets to the best of my knowledge. The second was an odd bit of luck when it came to timing. I got back into poi spinning right as Nick Woolsey had started uploading tutorials on YouTube. There was a series that he did as he traveled the world, starting with teaching the behind-the-back weave, and moving on to things like isolations, crossers, and even atomic weaves. And the timing of them was perfect. It would sometimes take me a few weeks to learn a new trick, and by the time I did, Nick had uploaded a new video. It kept me engaged and challenged as I started my flow journey. Which brings us to an interesting question that I do not actually know the answer to. When did I actually start spinning? What's the date of my flow anniversary? And the answer is that I honestly don't have a clue. I got introduced to poi at Burning Man 2006, and the following July, two of my friends from high school got married and I spun fire at their wedding. So I had to have gotten started sometime between those two dates, but when? Your guess is as good as mine. This is going to sound really strange, but I honestly didn't think that poi was going to become super important to me, so I didn't really make a note of when I started on it. But in the fall of 2007, I moved to the East Coast, first to New York City and then the next year to Washington, D.C., where I've lived ever since. And in 2008, I discovered online flow communities, the home of poi forums, tribe.net, and the many more artists who were starting to emerge on YouTube. Then in the fall of 2008, I took the plunge myself and started this here channel with my very first video on poi 1.5s. Yes, we're 13 years later and I am still plumbing their depths. I left my job to do flow arts full-time in the fall of 2011, and it took a long time for that to become a sustainable career. Would you like to hear that story? Leave me a comment and let me know. For now though, I just wanted to share how I got into flow arts. If you've ever had a lesson that seemed to end in disaster, don't get discouraged because that's how I started too. Don't underestimate the importance of community and resources to help get people through. There's a lot of obstacles I encountered getting there, but if I can work through them, then so can you. Did you get anything out of this video? Please do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep the conversation going and to help my channel grow. Do you like poi content? Do you like tutorials, flow sessions, and vlogs on flow arts culture? Consider signing up to support my work. I want to bring flow arts to the wider world and help people connect with their brains and their bodies through prop spinning. So help me do it. Head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up. You can do that either by clicking on the card that just popped up on YouTube or by using the link down in the description. Not only will you be supporting this mission, but you'll also be able to get early access to all of my content, a vote in what content I produce in the future, and a host of other awesome rewards such as getting a special weekly poi lesson delivered to your inbox that is available only to my supporters. Go give that a look and please consider supporting this channel. Thank you in advance. This video would not be possible without the kind support of all these amazing people right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the people listed down in the description, have made the video you just watched possible through their support on Patreon. Thank you so much for all of your continued support for me and this channel. What was your origin story? Did you have to give poi more than one try? What was the biggest obstacle you overcame? Leave me a comment and let me know. Thanks so much for watching. I'll leave a link to a playlist of other vlogs that I've done on a variety of topics down in the description or up on screen if you're watching on YouTube. Be sure to get out and flow today, and I'll see you with a new video on Wednesday. Peace.